Hi, welcome to the first video of my channel. I don't know if this is how it's gonna go down or not. I'm probably just gonna try and leave whatever mistakes I make in the video. Just talk to you like a normal person. I'm gonna be reading a little script I wrote, but I hope you guys like it. I hope it doesn't sound too forced. I spent a lot of time working on this and making it. Maybe I'll put some clips over the top of the video so you have something cool to look at other than my face not looking at the camera. Or maybe I'll just keep it the way it is, keep it natural, you know? This is not supposed to be a channel about professional. It's not a professional channel. I'm not a professional. This is just my experiences, my diary really. And yeah, I guess I feel like I need to put this out there. Got some pot. I'm gonna smoke a little pot. So if you see me look in this corner, by the way, I'm looking at my face. And if you see me look in this corner, I'm looking at my script. And up here, I'm trying to look at you guys. I don't know. First video. I'm gonna take a hit of pot, then we're gonna start this. Thank you, spirits, for being here with me, and please ask that you bless this video and let it reach whoever it needs to reach. All right. This video is about Kingdom Hearts and why I love Kingdom Hearts. And this channel is about my experiences with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. And you'll see that these two go hand in hand. This is probably the first of 3 videos, first part of 3, but I'll get as far as I can. So, I know a lot of people have talked about Kingdom Hearts and what it means to them. I like listening to different videos on YouTube about this and reading people's stories, but I feel it's about time I speak for myself and my experiences. This is not going to be just about my experiences with the game, but instead it's more of my story of my life so far and how I used a video game to come to terms with mental illness. Just a warning, this will go into spoilers for every game, in case you have never played the series before. This article is going to be written in 2 halves. Maybe I'll cut this out. The first half is a retrospective about my initial playthrough of the game. And what I was going through when I was playing them. My second half is going to be titled Replay, and it's about how I use these games as a tool to help me accept my reality and begin to heal from trauma. This article is not for everyone. This video is not for everyone. If you're unwilling to see other people's opinions and views on this series, then this article is not for you. If you're easily triggered from talking about abuse and trauma, then this article is not for you. This video is not for you. I say article because I wrote article. All right, we'll try this one more time. Took a little break, did some stuff. I was gonna listen to some music because there's some distracting noises going on in the background, but I'm just gonna try and do it without because the music was just as distracting. So first, I'd actually like to explain some things about myself and my past. This part might be triggering for some people, but it's actually important to my story and how I relate to this game. Also, keep in mind that I was very little when all this happened. So even though this is how I remember it, there might be some slight differences compared to what actually happened. When I was a little boy, both of my parents were busy with work. I was often left with my grandma at her house during the days. My grandma was definitely not the most caring or attentive person in the world. She would forget I was there a lot. I remember one time playing hide and seek with her, and I waited a long time for her to find me. I eventually came out of where I was hiding because I was hungry. I asked her why she never looked for me, and she told me, "I forgot you were here." Sometimes, when I would eat breakfast, she would sit down with me and tell me about her childhood. Strange stories. She would tell me about how her mother was a prostitute and had weird men come over almost every night. She'd tell me about how her mom sometimes let those men in her room and lock the door. She'd tell me about how her cousin that she fell in love with, and how when she was a teenager, they would make love in a barn, and one day his father found out, and his father beat the boy, and they weren't allowed to see each other again. This is all stuff she shared with me before I was even in kindergarten. My grandpa didn't live with her. They were divorced. He was a school teacher at a local high school. He'd come out as gay after getting caught having sex with one of his male students. Sometimes my grandpa would call my grandma while she was taking care of me and say he was coming over. My grandma would make cookies or some other treat. She would tell me I could only have some if I would do what I... Yeah, I'm trying to read through this and I'm getting a little emotional. Just reading through it's hard, dude. I wanted to like memorize all this, but there's so much. All right. My grandma would make cookies or some other treat. She'd tell me I could only have some if I would do what she said and be a good boy. She would dress me up in a robe, and then my grandpa would come over. My grandpa would proceed to touch me in places he should not touch me and stick his fingers in me. This would get him excited, and then I would either have to sit still and watch him masturbate or help him out. By the time I had started going to public school, my encounters with my grandpa had diminished. With my grandpa, my encounters with my grandpa had diminished quite a bit, and I didn't have to worry about being molested anymore. My grandma had a stroke, and my mom, my dad, and my little sister, we all moved in with her because she couldn't take care of herself anymore. In one way, this was good because that meant I was always either at school or at home with other people around. In other ways, this was bad because now I had to live full time with a woman who hurt me beyond belief. I was just a kid and I ended up repressing the memories of the rape. In several situations as I got older, I also ended up being responsible for taking care of my grandma and making sure she did not die during medical emergencies. I had trouble sleeping at night due to nightmares, and I often would lay in bed, awake, and think about suicide. I was really little. Then I would get up in the morning and do my best to be a good boy and put a smile on my face so no one could see, no one would know anything's wrong. I was afraid to let people in. I was afraid to be touched. There was so much illness and fighting in my family, I thought it would be best if I pretended everything was okay. I won't go too much into the details of this time period, but the important thing for me to get across was that it was a very traumatic time. I can't remember very many happy memories from these years. It felt like there was always some sort of medical emergency going on. And when there wasn't, there was fighting between my grandma, my dad, and my mom. When I was 13, my grandma died. My extended family, aunts and uncles, came into our house and took away all the things I grew up around. Like, all of them. Seriously. I don't even know how to describe it. It was like... Well, the house was owned by my uncle, and he let us stay there because my grandma was sick. And then I guess him and my dad had this deal where as soon as she died, like, we weren't allowed to stay there anymore. So, and then all the stuff in the house was my grandma's stuff. And so we got kicked out within like a month after she died, it felt like, if I remember correctly. Maybe it was like a little bit longer. Maybe we had like a few months to pack everything up, but it felt really quick. She died, we had to move out, and all of the stuff that I had been surrounded with since I was a kid, like since I was so little, they took it away. Yeah, I think that still leaves me with some stability issues, you know, like my home, my belongings could be taken away any moment. Anyway, I'll get back to the script. I kind of got off. This is the same time also that I began experiencing flashbacks and memories of the rape I had gone through. I had a lot of stress-related health issues that came along with this. Specifically, I wasn't eating much, and I was getting a lot of acid reflux because of that, and I was definitely underweight. One time I didn't even shit for 2 weeks, like, not healthy. I was not eating anything. My experience with the Kingdom Hearts games goes hand in hand with all of these painful experiences. and more. This is my story. This is the story of how I used a video game to help me come to terms with my own reality and start seeing that deep down, there's a light that will never go out. Just hearing that line, deep down, there's a light that will never go out. Just hearing that brings some warmth to my heart. I have a really affectionate place for this game. So Kingdom Hearts 1. Let's talk about why I love this series. And let me say, it has nothing to do with Disney. I know Disney is what originally attracted most people to this series, and I can understand why Disney fans would be excited. But I wouldn't really call myself a Disney fan as a kid. I felt pretty middle of the road about it. It was okay. Didn't love it, didn't hate it. I preferred SpongeBob, if anything. But this game made me start appreciating Disney over the years, not vice versa. I did not get into Disney first. I wasn't the one who bought this game or wanted it. This game was given to me as a Christmas gift from my dad. He also didn't know anything about it. It actually feels like a pretty spiritual experience when I hear the story. And I remember the story from when he first told me when I was receiving this game at like 6 years old. He went to a store like Target or something, and he asked just some random person at the store what game would be appropriate for a kid, and they pointed out Kingdom Hearts. They said that their kid loved it, and they could recommend it. And so, yeah, that's how Kingdom Hearts entered my life. It's not my choice, not my dad's choice, just some random stranger's choice was like, hey, yeah, here, kid, here's Kingdom Hearts. You need this. There seems to be something magical about these games that I can't fully explain. I don't know what you guys believe in, but for me, I do have a sense of spirituality, and there's a timing that comes along with these games that I've heard other fans talk about too. It's as if each of these games came to us in the moment of our lives that we needed it the most, and that coincidence happens with every single one of these games. It's followed me throughout the years, just like these games have followed me. Each time I go through something new and big and traumatic, it's like, bang, a Kingdom Hearts game is there to mirror my experiences. I started playing, I feel like, yeah, I've literally got a hair in my mouth. Like feeling it, it's like in my teeth. I don't know how do you get a hair stuck in your teeth? Like, how does that happen? I started playing this game first when I was 6 years old, like I said. I wasn't very good at video games, and I wouldn't actually end up beating it until I was 13. The same year my grandma died, in fact. It was one of the most helpful tools I had during the year that my grandma died. Right away, I remember being completely entranced by the opening cutscene. I've been having these weird thoughts lately. Like, is any of this for real? Or not. To me, being 6 years old, being told I was supposed to be happy, good, smiling, good boy, these lines right here, this is what repression felt like. What was real? What was fake? Was I happy? Was I sad? What is happiness and sadness? Did I even feel anything at all? I don't know. Nothing about my life felt real whatsoever. It was like I was in some imaginary world. In fact, these games oftentimes felt more real to me than the world that I actually live in. It was just so fitting to start off this game with a sequence of a nightmare. I had nightmares almost every night. And the Heartless were a perfect enemy. To me, they were so scary. All these types of things I would see in my dreams. Dark-looking demons that would come and touch me while I slept. Like, I would really see these things. It was freaky. It was like I would have nightmares about them, and I would even have them in my room. Like, think about the Neo Shadow. The Neo Shadow is probably the scariest one to me because it's the most real. It's the most... Like, I've had nightmares of the Neo Shadow before I ever saw a Neo Shadow. I used to see them curling over my bed when I was a kid and looking at me. And they would stand in the dark half of my room, and I would actually keep my lamp turned on, and I would stare at the lamp, or not at the lamp, not hurting my eyes, but I'd stare at the bright side of the room, and I would keep my eyes open, and I'd pray to Jesus to take this demon away, take it away. I don't want it here. Please save me from this evil thing. But that thing would just keep staring at me. And maybe that was the PTSD. Maybe I have an overactive imagination, but it was scary, and I saw it. And yeah, so like I said, so fitting to start this game off with a nightmare sequence. These things, these nightmares, these demons that I saw, they would hurt me in places they shouldn't be touching me, and I saw them every night. And then Sora woke up with a smile on his face on the beach, and this was the perfect game for me. This was better than any piece of media I had ever experienced before. Felt like I was given a gift from the universe. They asked him questions in the tutorial. They asked him, what do you want out of life? What is most important to you? What is it you're so afraid of? These were questions that I began asking myself. And asking these questions opened up a can of worms I wasn't prepared for as a child. The closer you get to the light, the larger your shadow becomes. But don't be afraid. I didn't understand this as a child, but the more I played of the game, the more I saw myself in Sora, and the more desperately I tried to finish the game and find answers for myself. And as I would do this, my nightmares kept getting worse. One of the reasons it took me so long to beat this game is because of those nightmares. Every time I would play the game, the nightmares would get worse, and every time I would stop, the nightmares would get better. And I don't blame the game for that. I don't, like, looking back as a kid, I did blame the game. But looking back as an adult, I don't blame the game. I recognize that was my PTSD, and that the game was making me think of things that I wasn't ready to think of yet. I actually stopped playing the game for about 2 years. I think the ages 8 and 9, I stopped playing Kingdom Hearts. So I played at 6 and 7. I was able to get through like Traverse Town. I was really shitty at playing the game. But the nightmare, they just got so bad. Another thing I didn't realize until I got older was that it wasn't only Sora that I saw myself in. I was so invested in Sora and his story that I didn't realize that other characters could reflect a part of myself as well. Riku was one of these characters. I hated Riku the first few times I played the game. I thought the way that he treated people and acted was completely selfish and uncalled for. I mean, he was the jerk who plunged Destiny Islands into darkness. But I couldn't see the truth at the time. I couldn't see that some old gross man, was reaching out to Riku and emotionally manipulating him, just like some old man did to me. I couldn't understand he was only trying to do what he thought was best and deal with his pain in the best way possible. I couldn't even see that later in the game when Riku literally has that same old man enter his body and take it away from him. To me, now, I understand that Sora is who I presented myself as when I was a kid, and Riku was the part of myself I was repressing. Sora represented the child who does his best to be responsible and cheerful and be a good boy, and Riku represents the child that has gone through sexual abuse and emotional manipulation. Riku has changed. Kairi says that. There was a part of me that had been changed, and I never was going to be able to reverse that or run away from what happened. But I was only a child, so I kept trying to hide it. I kept trying to run away. It's actually funny how much I related to Sora when I was a kid, because now I can see I was honestly just as much like Riku. I felt a lot of the same things Riku did. I just chose to act like Sora instead. So Sora gets plunged into another world, and instead of being worried for himself, he's most worried for his friends. Kairi and Riku seem to be the most important things to him. I could relate to this. It wasn't myself that I thought about as a kid. I had to take care of my grandma, and when she was in need, I had to take care of my grandma, and when she was in need. I don't want to just read through this. I know I am. I am just kind of reading through this. And that's okay, guys. I don't know fully how to get in touch with these emotions. I don't know how to fully process them even now. Hearing that line, I had to take care of my grandma when she was in need. Such a logical line. So much about the way I put this paper together, it's so logical and matter of fact. Like, this is what happened, but it did happen, and there was emotions tied to it. That line, I had to take care of my grandma when she was in need. I feel it more strongly than I logically know how to express. My mom and dad would fight a lot. They both seemed very unhappy, and I felt it was my responsibility to help them be happy. My little sister needed to be looked after, and I did my best to keep her safe when no one else was paying attention. Sometimes, when you go through a traumatic event, it seems safer to rush forward and try to help the people around you than it does to stop for a moment and consider how you actually feel. Sometimes, just like Sora, you push your feelings aside and just keep fighting, hoping that you can make it okay again. I feel like I'm kind of like, I'm kind of like shaking a little bit right now. I'm trying to do both at the same time. You know, I keep fighting. This video is me fighting. I'm pushing forward, but trying to take these moments to stop and listen to these feelings as well and let myself feel them because they hurt. Donald says to Sora, "No frowning, no sad faces." This is what it felt like everyone was telling me I needed to do. I was a kid, I was supposed to be happy, right? Felt like I was a burden to everyone around me if I wasn't happy. That was the motto of the next few years of my life. Even when I didn't feel happy, I honestly tried my best to put on a happy face, no matter what I was feeling inside. Even when I would lay in bed at night and thinking about hurting myself, even when I wanted to die. Even after my grandma died and my memories of being raped began coming back to me, I tried as hard as I could to keep my happy face on. The entire first game focuses on the relationship between Sora and Riku, just as this entire time period in my life focused on the relationship between the way I presented myself to my family and to my friends and the pain I was really feeling inside. You guys get to see me scratch my ear. I feel like a dork making this video. I feel like it's not going to matter anyway. Maybe people will see this, maybe they won't. Maybe it's not a dork that I'm feeling. Maybe I'm just feeling the pain. Maybe I'm trying to make it easier than it actually is. This is already 19 minutes long, and that's not even including the intro that I made. This is going to be way more videos than I thought it would. The moment when Sora sacrifices himself to release Kairi's heart was the most shocking moment in the game for me. He does it with a smile on his face. Sora looks truly happy at the concept of ending his own life so that Kairi may survive. This moment hit me very hard when I was 13. Wow, we're at 13 already? I feel like there's so much that I skipped over. Anyway, this is the first moment when I realized that just smiling and doing your best to have a positive attitude isn't enough to quell the pain that you feel. No matter how much you go around smiling and pretending, everything is okay. That will never take... I read that wrong. No matter how much you go around smiling and pretending that everything is okay, that will never take away the pain you feel inside. This game was so monumental for me, and this scene was the most important part. This is when I finally realized I don't have to smile, and I don't have to be happy all the time. The day I saw this scene was the day I stopped forcing myself to smile. My friends are my power. Even after Sora sacrifices himself, he is able to come back with the help of his friends. I felt lost after my grandma died. I used to tell myself everything would get better when she was gone. I mean, that logically makes sense, right? You're away from your abuser, and then you're living with one of your other abusers, and you just think, I just gotta hold on until she dies. Everything will get better then, right? No, that doesn't happen. I thought I would be safe from the people who tried to hurt me. I thought my parents wouldn't be stressed and they would stop fighting. Boy, was I wrong on that one. I thought everyone could be happy, but that's not how it was. Everything started to get worse. Everything started to feel more stressful. But there was only one thing that helped me during this time, more than anything else. And that's my friends. I had 2 really close friends from school. We'll call them C and R. If you guys see this video, you know who you are. I don't think that they understood at the time what I was really going through, or why I would do some of the things I did over the next few years, but that didn't matter. They were always there for me. They helped bring me back to a sense of reality, just like Kairi brought Sora back to reality after he had sacrificed himself. I started spending more time with my friends. I don't think I could have made it through those years without them. I'm not sure they know how important they really were to me. I was lost in the darkness. I couldn't find my way. I started forgetting things. My friends, who I was. The darkness almost swallowed me, but then I heard your voice. But then I heard a voice. Your voice. You brought me back. I'm proud that I'm able to still call these 2 people my friends to this day. So I traded in one motto for another. No frowning, no sad faces became my friends are my power. I was quite upset at the way this first game ended. I was actually mad. I remember being mad about it for some time after I finished it too. I didn't understand how Sora could feel so positive after everything he had been through. Deep down, there is a light that will never go out, Sora would say. Once I started remembering all the trauma I had been through, I couldn't feel that light within myself. And it made me furious that even after everything Sora had been through, he didn't get to go back home to Destiny Islands and enjoy his life with his family and friends. It made me even more furious that at the end of the game, it made me even more furious that he ended the game with happiness in his heart anyway. How do you do that? How do you go through those traumatic events and still be happy coming out the other side? Even though the stuff's not resolved? That made me so pissed when I was 13, dude. So pissed. One who knows nothing can understand nothing. I couldn't understand how Sora could be happy with all the pain he had gone through. I didn't understand how I could be happy with the pain I had gone through. I didn't understand how Sora could end the game wandering through another strange world and still have a smile on his face. Still, though, this didn't keep me from playing the second game. Once I realized they even made a second Kingdom Hearts game. I'm so glad I played it too, because there's a new character I would find I could relate to. One which had whole new lessons to teach me. Roxas. Well, that's my first video. It's gonna be like 30 minutes long, dude. That's a long video. Yeah. I was gonna do way more, but this took way longer than I thought, and I don't want to overwhelm you guys. I don't want to overwhelm myself either. So I'm gonna take a break. I'll see you guys. Keep it chill.